All right, give Purdue credit. I thought they played really well, made really important plays at critical times tonight, and give Coach Painter and his staff and team credit for the road win. I thought they had a lot of guys step up and make plays that you'd expect guys that have been in the program to make. So credit goes to them. We'll try to learn from this and move forward.
Obviously, you guys turned the ball over a lot. You outshoot them. You had more points off of turnovers, but they made more free throws than you guys attempted. Is you try to figure out where this one went their way? Is that the difference to you, that they got to the line more than you did?
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that we're a team. We need to foul less, but we're really struggling getting to the foul line, and that's been an issue for us all year. I don't think we're going to be a team that's going to get to the foul line a whole lot, to be honest with you. So there's going to be a lot of times where we're not going to win that battle. I think we can foul less. We can play smarter for sure with some of our fouls, but I just don't think we're a team that's going to lead or win a whole lot of the free throw rate. So.
Both Andre and Musaf, they said obviously they're disappointed with the loss, but I feel like maybe there's a few more positives to take out of this than some of the more recent games, because you guys did at least fight back late. Do you feel that way, that there's maybe a little more sense of optimism after this loss than the most recent ones? You know,
we'll look at the video. I'm always reluctant to say a whole lot before I have a chance to kind of look at the film, but you know, our team had really good spirit tonight. You know, I do think that they had good spirit about them. The players deserve credit for that, but you know, we just have to play more sound, and I've got to make sure we learn from this and take steps forward. You can't turn over 13 times in the first half and expect to put yourself in position that you need to be in.
The play before halftime, it appears Caleb's giving ground and has his hands above his head, and the official makes a motion that the shooter had been fouled by being hit in the head where Caleb's hands were above his head. Was it your intention to try and get a clarification on that, to figure that did they misreport the number, or?
No, they were adamant that it was on him, and they were adamant that he hit him in the head. And I asked him multiple times. You know, they were adamant that there was a foul. It was a foul on him, and that he was hit in the head. I didn't at that time say, "Hey, go check the monitor," because they were so. And it wasn't just. It was multiple guys that they were convinced of that.
Well, how bad of a mistake is that when it goes to his third foul, then 3 becomes 4 early in the second half, and although you guys fight and get it down to 2, you're without your 2 big men at that point.
Yeah, there's no question it was a critical call, and I made that clear to him multiple times in various ways that was a really critical point, that they. You know, you're limiting one of our interior guys and currently our leading scorer. I asked him coming out of halftime if they reviewed it, and they said again it was a foul. They said they did review the film and that it was a foul. I mean, it's not the reason we lost the game, but if you're asking me to describe the conversations, that's what I'm describing.
Yeah. And just one last thing about this, just how much of your emotion was coming out at that time? Just you're now down 11, 15. It's not looking as if this is going to be your day at that point. Just is that just in that moment, or is it just an accumulation of everything that's happened in the last few weeks at that point?
You know, it's not been an easy stretch, that's for sure. I don't know. I just adamantly disagreed with the call. We work on verticality every day. You know, I've had conversations with, you know, the people that make these the powers that be about the way our we've been officiated, and or Caleb in particular. So, but you know, you got to move on from those situations, and I wish I wouldn't have got the technical, but I just didn't think it was the right call.
I know your hands forced a little bit because of Kyle's injury, but did you think that a lineup with Andre at the 5 and I guess it was Musa at the 4 would be as effective for you guys as it seemed to be in the second half?
No, I don't think I necessarily. I think that they did a really good job competing tonight. Both guys did a really good job competing. It helps when you're making shots too. But I thought they both did a really good job competing, and Justin did as well. I thought Andre's spirit and competitiveness really carried this group, and that was good to see. But I do think Andre provides some versatility because he's longer and he's physical and he can. My concern was him getting another foul, and then we're in real trouble, which is why I took him out a little bit there in the second half.
And I've asked you, I guess, a version of this before, but Keyshawn seems like he's really struggling, and I don't know when you get to the point where you start playing Dwayne and Luther and CJ and maybe only those 3 guys the bulk of the minutes at that guard.
We're not there yet. I believe in Keyshawn, and I believe he can help our team. He's done a lot for our team. I really do believe in him. We got to work to get him back in a good rhythm. Dwayne struggled tonight. Dwayne was ill last night, so I think there was a fatigue factor. He was up the whole night, so that was the part of the reason. He had the flu the whole night. And we tried to do as much as we could to get him his strength where it needed to be, but I did not think he was providing the kind of energy or effective play, and I'm sure part of that was his illness.
Chris, you came in here after some wins in December, and it was basically like warnings that you saw issues and that problems might pop up in Big Ten play. Has this been what you expected, worse than what you might have seen coming? I hate to put it in that sort of perspective, but
yeah, I don't think, Austin, you ever want to foreshadow a losing streak. I think in the moment you're just trying to address teams' needs, or excuse me, our team's issues. As a coach, you're trying to figure out how to communicate that better to your team and do a better job. And that's honestly what I was doing in those moments. People took it as coach speak or whatever. That was genuinely how I felt. And this group, I believe in this group. I believe that if we have the right approach, we'll continue to get better. But sure, I saw something. I think the biggest thing I saw in those moments was we were not able to physically impose ourselves on teams, and you flipped it back a year prior, we were able to physically impose ourselves. And I think that's what I was trying to say, okay, we got to be – and some of that is, older guys, all that kind of stuff, but that was my concern.
Coach, with Caleb struggling with foul issues this year, have you and your staff talked about the possibility of running some zone defense with him on the court?
Yeah, we have. We've looked at it a little bit, but it's not – I don't know that his fouls come up a whole lot, from post defense. We have looked at it, and we practiced it, and we have it in. But I think he's just got to be a little bit smarter. He's an aggressive kid, and I love that about him. But I think there are some corrections he can make, and I believe he can be. I believe some of the calls are. I'll leave it at that.
Carson, he had 27 points tonight, but the majority of that came from the free throw line. And Luther was on him for the majority of the night. How do you think he did on him, especially at the start of the game where it seemed like
I think he did pretty well at times. He made some tough shots. I think the thing that Carson did there in the second half was he was able to make some really hard shots when we were getting within a possession or two, and kind of stave us off a little bit. So obviously you can't let him get to the line 13 times. So we got to do a better job with that. We'll look at the film and see if we weren't walling up like we needed to be.
Did it seem like that lineup that you had where I think you guys made like 7 straight shots and went on that run to get back in the game. Did it seem like that lineup kind of showed you how you can play when Caleb is in foul trouble or just not in the game for rest purposes?
Yeah, I think maybe. I think Andre at that position and kind of playing a little bit more with a little more versatility and a little bit more spacing, really, is what that gave us. To be honest with you, is more spacing, and we did. We played differently offensively in the second half. We decided to run something different, and it just created a little bit more space. So yeah, it's certainly something that we plan to look for moving forward because it opens the floor more for us, which we need.
Talked in the last couple of weeks about how you believe in this team, and even though you went through is your 5th loss in a row, you said that again today. What makes you say that? Why do you have that positive feeling about this team?
I believe in our guys, and I believe in their approach and their willingness to kind of fight through this. And we just listen. The results are the results right now, and they're not what any of us want. And it's certainly been the hardest stretch of my coaching career. But I believe in our guys, and I'm confident that we've got a group that if we can just stay committed to this process of getting better and learning from this, then hopefully, we'll see better days.
When you find a lineup like that where you're getting spacing for Andre and Musa, is that something you just kind of have to roll with? I mean, even it looked like maybe some guys got a little fatigued. You had to take Justin out and brought him back in. But when they're starting to get you back in the game, is that something you just try and stick with as much as possible? Yeah,
we did. If they weren't, if Justin wasn't so gassed, I'd have probably left him in there a little bit more. And then I was concerned about Dre getting his 5th foul, which is why I put Jay in there for a defensive possession or two. But I have no problem rolling with guys for extended period if they're competing on both ends.
We've seen Andre score non-conference and whatnot, but to do what he did tonight against a good defensive Big Ten team, is that something you can build on with him moving forward, especially when you have to go small like that?
Yeah, again, I think I think playing down a little bit gave up or down, however you want to look at it, gave him a little bit more open floor, a little more movement, gave him an advantage there, and he did a good job taking advantage of it and driving it and shooting it. And he shot it, he has shot it well in practice, and he shot it well today. And Coach Raggi told us before the game that when he worked him out this morning, he shot it really well. So it doesn't always play itself out, but he's put in work, and I did like the spacing that smaller group provided.
You've mentioned Justin once or twice. I know he only had 6 points, but it seemed like he really did give you a spark. When a guy like that is able to contribute, is that when you start looking for positives and things to build on, when you get a contribution from a guy who hasn't contributed a lot this season, is that a positive for you? Yeah,
Justin's got a great attitude, and that allows him to kind of be ready to play well. He's got to continue to learn and be more detailed defensively, and he's got to do a better job taking care of the ball. But was really pleased with. He's just a terrific kid and great addition to our team. He had 5 rebounds. I thought he shot it, took for the most part good shots and was ready to shoot. So he was certainly a positive.